the other card for the man, for the father of the child, was the Five of Swords upside down. Okay, so the readers started talking about he might want to play games, and she ought not to participate in game playing. And so, again, we don't know whether this card representing the father is showing what he's doing well, what he's doing badly, what he should be glad about, what he should be sad about. But take these two cards and put them side by side and look at the card and do something with the picture on the card. And what have we got? The woman, the man. The woman is one person on her own. The man is three people. So he's got a cruel streak, we could say, or a hostile streak from the look in this person. He's also been damaged. He's been hurt. He's been damaged by life. He's been damaged by other people. He's been damaged by his upbringing, his family, whatever it happens to be. But he's also got a compassionate streak, and he's willing to go off and help people who need help. So she's okay. You know, she's one person, and she's sort of in control of things, it looks like. Whereas he's got a much more difficult time because the card was upside down as well. So by saying to the woman, you're one individual, but the father of the child is three people. And you don't maybe know whether you're going to be dealing with the cruel streak, the one who's hurt and damaged. And if you're hurt and damaged, you want to defend yourself, or you feel the need to defend yourself. And you may be expecting to be hurt again. Or else maybe he's the compassionate one, and he's actually in quite good shape at that particular moment. So by looking at the picture on the card, you can give the reader, the questioner, something definite and something that's clear, that if she knows that she's one and he's three, and you don't know who he is, maybe what she understands is that when he's being cruel, cut short the communication. When he's feeling hurt and vulnerable, cut short the communication. When he's in the mood where he's willing to go and look after other people and help them out and cooperate with them and show them a better way of doing things, that's when you have communication. And so maybe what she does is she points this out to him, and maybe shows him the picture and says, that's you. You know, and so that can be liberating for him to understand that, okay, instead of feeling that all he is damaged, and so all he can do is be cruel and defend himself violently at times with these swords, if he can know that he's also this understanding, compassionate, kind, caring individual, and maybe that's who she was attracted to in the first place, because she had a child with him. And so maybe he can understand something about himself, that he can choose, is he going to be him, or him? And when he chooses to be the understanding individual and realizes that just because he's been damaged, it doesn't mean he's got to take it out on other people. That he can maybe rise above it or be caring and loving and compassionate. And so maybe over time this individual comes to dominate these two. And so there's growth in the man, that he understands he doesn't need to be harsh. He doesn't need to feel that he's going to be beaten up or he's going to be damaged when he comes into contact with people. So there can be growth for the individual. So by looking at these two together, I think it doesn't, you've got the questioner and the father of the child are going to get an idea of the situation that happens between them. And it gives them some kind of control and gives them a possibility for improvement. Whereas if you just take one card and think, okay, what is it? I don't know. Is it what's good or is it what's bad? Because it may be that the woman, all she wants is cash. And he, maybe, for whatever reason, can't give it to her or doesn't want to give it to her. Maybe because he feels like him or him. So, that's sort of it. And so I want to say, when you're doing a reading for somebody, look at the card, you know. And so instead of, it means that you've got this common picture, and maybe the question would say, okay, what does this mean? Or why is the person holding this hawk, hunting animal, bird? And so you come up with an answer to that. Or why is the person, why are there these two swords on the ground? And so questioners may ask you things that are difficult to answer, maybe you never thought about, but that means you, the reader, are learning as well, and that's a good thing. So instead of having cards in isolation, or you've got all your past background and history and understanding, and the questioner is somebody else, the same kind of thing, if you've got the card and look at the card, you've got a point of common contact. So you can talk about the card, the questioner is going to see the picture and see the card and understand it, and maybe ask you questions about it, or you can ask questions about it. You know, so you might want to say to the woman, this is you standing quite comfortably. Do you need the money from, or do you need money from the fellow? And she will say yes or no, or maybe she'll say, do you know, I do, but I hadn't realized that because I sort of want friendship from him, or I want him to, but I hadn't realized that actually all I want is the money. And that changes the understanding of the questioner and changes what information you're going to get. Or maybe the questioner would ask, okay, this is a Five of Swords reverse. Why is this person in the background? And maybe you have a discussion about the history, the family history of the father of the husband, and then it develops understanding in the questioner, because she realizes that it's unrealistic maybe to expect that he's going to be quite together, because he has been hurt, he has been damaged, and so he feels the need to defend himself, even when there's no threat. So, I think the tarot is great. It answers questions. But I think it's important as well to trust it. Like, these cards came up. This is what you're meant to talk about now. There's good value in talking about this card with this questioner. So don't think, okay, maybe I didn't get the right card. Or the other point I'd like to make is, let me just look at the time. Oh, 17 minutes. Okay. So the other thing is, if the person asks you a question and you don't know, say, okay, I don't know. Instead of bluffing or feeling that you have to be all wise, all knowing, and know everything, and have an immediate answer for the person. If somebody says, what's this hawk about? You think, well, you know, I really don't know. Then you start talking and listen to what you're saying, because deep down you have something sensible to say, and you maybe don't know it immediately when the person asks you the question. But if you start talking, you'll find that you automatically come up with interesting and relevant and correct and good things to say that the questioner is going to find valuable. Maybe not at that second when you're talking, but later it's going to be, they're going to benefit from the kinds of information that you gave them based on that question about the hunting hawk. And maybe it has to do with, I mean, that's a killer, you know, because it's got sharp talons and it flies and it catches little mice. And so maybe the woman, okay, is looking, at this point she's got this wild animal under control, and maybe in some way the sharp talons here relate to the swords in this card for the man. And maybe the woman thinks, I've got to keep him under control. I've got to keep the blindfold on him, because if I let him free, he's going to attack. So maybe she's feeling very defensive and she didn't realize it. And that can be the connection between the talons on the bird and the suit of swords representing the man. So talk about the cards, and instead of taking what you've learned, or a meaning that you learned about this particular card, and in your head trying to figure out, okay, this card means hard work will be rewarded, and so blah blah blah, and start talking about what the person ought to do. Look at the card, look at the picture, and let it stimulate thoughts or describe it, and use that as a starting off point for the questioner to understand the answer.